Fairway ball, perfect lie, 170 yards out. Giving it my 7-iron. Oh, fat. Approach shots, striking irons. How good or bad are you? You catching them fat, you catching them thin. It's so frustrating after a good drive. Let's go to the Foresight studio and show you some of the science, the ideas of delivery around these awful strikes that are costing you shots when you play, and then maybe give you some tips to try and fix them. Right, let's look at some deliveries. I've got an 8-iron. I'm going to hit some fins and some tops, and we'll show you what the general pattern is to create these shots. So that's very much ground first. You can see it's a duff left, short, 95 carry. I hit a good couple of inches, maybe 3 inches behind the ball on that one. So you're going to see a different pattern in my movement. Again, that's a fat. I'm trying to lean back, those kind of ideas. I'm just moving my low point behind the ball. So these ones I'm going to catch more toppy, more fin. Oh, sting. Ouch, that properly hurt. Oh, that is a stingy topper runner. It's not even getting in, look at that. I don't want to do too many of these, do you?
Right, let's look at the numbers to see what patterns we see with these tops and fats that Mark's been talking about. So, big one I see during my lessons is the angle of attack. Look at it, both up, 5.4 up and 2.7 up. So Mark's basically bottoming that club out too early. On the fat ones, he's catching the ground, and that also makes his face closed. Look at that, 8.5 closed, so it's really twisting that club. And if you look at the ball data, the fats are all missing left and the thins are all missing right. So very, very similar with both the shots. Bottoming out early, angle of attack hitting up. The only difference is when you catch the ground, that face closes and sends that ball left on the fat shots. Let's go back out to Mark on the course, who's got some tips for you to fix these problems.
Right, first tip. The world's not flat. You're going to get so many variations of lies out here, subtle to extreme. Now we can talk about the extreme ones, and maybe I'll do another video, and if you want to see a video on that, let me know in that comment section down below where you want to see, you know, ball above your feet and down, really extreme ones. But even on a kind of relatively what I would call flat lie here, this lie isn't flat. This ball is slightly below my feet. Now where it's not enough below my feet for me to worry about shot shapes, I don't think it's going to affect my shot shape. If you look inside, when we're talking about strikes, we're talking about millimeters. So you're going to have lies where the ball is a few millimeters low, a few millimeters high and down, and all the different areas that you can strike a ball on a very unsurfaced or uneven planet that we live on. So the first skill I want you to get better at is practicing from different subtle lies. Easiest way to do that, I've got one in a very shallow divot, one up on a tee, and one on the slightly flat lie, which is actually fractionally below my feet. Think about it, you could do this on the range. You could put 3 different tee heights, try and hit them, try and strike them from these different lies, and feel how you have to react to these situations. So start with the one on the tee. So that ball is above my feet, it's higher, it's closer to me. What I'm going to do to try and create strike on this one is I'm going to stand taller. I'm going to move up to that ball. So I've come up in my posture, up in my hand. In my swing, I'm going to feel like I actually maintain, if not get a little bit higher. I'm reacting to where that ball is. I am not just swinging at it as normal. The one in the divot, it's a shallow divot. I don't need to hit my punch out a divot shot, but that ball is now slightly lower. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand in my normal posture, but I am going to feel that I deliver that club fractionally lower. So getting down to that divot, and I'm changing by millimeters here. It's not measurable in video as how it would look in different positions, all those ideas. It's measurable by my feel of being able to park, land the bottom of this club in relationship to where that ball is. When I was teaching lot, I used to say to students, how good are you at parallel parking, so reverse parking? People would say, yeah, I can do it. And I'd say, well, if you drive my car, which is not as long or longer than yours, how good will you be first time? And they say, yeah, it's harder, isn't it? If I take my wife's car or my partner's car, I don't know where the ends of it are. You learn, and it's a similar skill. You've got to learn how to bottom this club out in these different situations. Get on the range, don't just hit from that perfectly flat lie all the time, because you actually probably won't get that lie once on the fairway when you play. This lie is relatively flat, but that ball is still slightly below my feet, so I'm aware of that in my delivery. And I practice to those slightly below my feet measurements, and I'm delivering for it. This is such a feel-based skill that not enough golfers are practicing to try and get the strikes in relationship to the very uneven world that we live on in the right place. This is a crucial drill to improve your iron striking. So we saw from inside that people like to bottom out early. That's such a crucial issue when it comes to hitting good iron strikes. I've got a spare golf glove. I'm going to put it behind this ball. Let's say, what's that, 6 inches behind the ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to try and push my low point forward of that ball by making sure I don't hit that glove on the downswing. If you imagine, if I was bottoming out early, my club's already getting low here, catching the ground here, and there's the top or the duff. And you can even get, you know, really cute with this. Move it maybe 4 inches behind the ball if you want to really push your feelings. Now, it will make your backswing feel not real. You'll have to pick it up quicker on the backswing. Or what you can do is you can just get yourself set up to the ball, normal stance, and you could go back to first parallel and start if you're confident that you can actually hit the ball from there, so you don't have to have it affecting your backswing. For me, I don't mind that it affects my backswing. I just work it into the feel. So I'm going to do my normal setup. Miss the glove on the way back, but definitely try and miss it on the way down. And you can see my low point down here. Ball was here. All interactions with the ground where I'm actually moving the ground is ahead of the ball. If you look at real high speed footage, you do actually touch the ground slightly before the ball, but for your interaction, you're moving the turf. Let's get that forward. This simple glove drill absolutely transforms people's strikes. Last one, this is a great one. I call it the hover drill. So what I want you to do is set up to your iron shot as normal, but I want you to start, rather than the club sat on the ground, I want you to start with the club behind the ball like you normally would, but above the ball. So you can see my club is actually missing the top of the ball here. And try hitting a few shots from here, because what it will teach you to do is move more down to hit that ball, which tends to make people move forward and get their low point ahead of that ball again a bit more. I tend to do this in fairway bunkers. I will hover the club to try and get that clean pick and move that kind of impact forward of the ball, so I'm never catching the sand. It works on the fairway as well, and it can work on your ranges. Same setup. Pick the club up, and now when I pick the club up, it's a mixture of me pulling my arms slightly in to move it higher and a fraction taller, but not too much. If you start getting too much taller in your body, you might find changing the angles does affect your swing, so try not to get too stood up to do it. I'm literally just getting a fraction taller, but just pulling my arms slightly more in towards my chest. I'm going to try and hit a shot from there. What you'll find with this drill is you might hit a few funny strikes at the start because it is a little abstract, but the general pattern with this drill for golfers, the more they do it, the more they push that low point forwards, and they really get a feel for how that feels to strike the ball that way, and then they can start to work those ideas of how, with it hovering there, you do tend to go a little bit more this way and even up this way to hit the ball. Use those feelings in your body to transform that strike. Getting rid of ground first, tops and duffs could have such a big benefit to your approach play. These simple drills, use all three of them, use one of them, a mixture of them, whichever one's worked for you, get the strike going, you'll hit more greens, you'll definitely lower your scores.